In this video, we are going to discuss questions related to Kubernetes objects asked in interviews, which also showcase your skills on real-world projects. Before understanding Kubernetes objects, we need to understand the working of Kubernetes. So I am putting a very short clip from my previous videos where I have explained how Kubernetes works automatically with examples and why there is a need for Kubernetes objects at all.
Kubernetes utilizes declarative configuration, means we need to tell in what final state we want our containers to be in, and Kubernetes will automatically do that. So now the question arises, how can Kubernetes manage them and do the deployment automatically? So Kubernetes is able to do so by continuously comparing the current state and the final state of Kubernetes objects. I will explain what are these Kubernetes objects, but first understand the working of Kubernetes with an example. Suppose I want to make a rectangle. So as we know, we are going to follow the declarative approach, means I have to tell that I want a rectangle of width this, height this in our file, and this information will be used to make a rectangle. I don't need to explicitly tell that you have to go this way, then you have to turn right and all that, as that would be an imperative approach. So this way is how Kubernetes works. But we want to automatically detect the changes, right? Means if I change my height by twice in my file, then I want my system to detect it automatically and make the rectangle with the double height. So how can it automatically detect the changes? It can do so by constantly comparing the width and height mentioned in the file with the actual width and the height of the rectangle. So whenever I make the changes in the file, it automatically changes the same in the actual rectangle. Similarly, Kubernetes works. Just like for our rectangle, we need to provide information like width and height. In Kubernetes, we need to provide the information about Kubernetes objects, so that Kubernetes will constantly compare these Kubernetes object in our file with the actual Kubernetes object in the architecture. So let's understand what are these Kubernetes objects which we need to provide in our files, which Kubernetes will use to manage our containers, not only manage but to automatically manage our containers.
So now we are very clear from all these examples that Kubernetes objects are persistent entities that are used to represent the state of the cluster. Or in other terms, you can say that they are records of intent, which means once they are created, the cluster does its best to ensure it exists as they are defined by the user, which is known as the cluster's desired state. So basically, we as DevOps engineers are creating Kubernetes objects to effectively tell the Kubernetes system what we want our cluster's workload to look like, basically to express the cluster desired state, and Kubernetes uses them to maintain this state automatically by always working to make an object's current state equal to the object desired state. If you are coming from an experienced background, then you can understand Kubernetes objects by looking at them as class instances, where each created object references a predefined class that tells the API server how to handle system resources and communicate with the specific components. Just like in our rectangle example, rectangle objects are defining the height and width of the rectangle. Kubernetes object desired state can be used to describe what containerized applications are running and on which nodes, what resources are available to those applications, about the policies around how these applications behave, such as restart policies, upgrades, and fault tolerance, about the IP endpoints that map to a logical group of containers, how many replicas of container are running, and much more. But these are some general things which you can tell the interviewer. We can describe these objects in the popular data serialization language, that is YAML, and send them to the API server where they get validated before they are created. So in this YAML file for the Kubernetes object, you will need to set the values for the following fields. The first one is API version, where we define which version of the Kubernetes API we are going to use to create this object. Second is kind, where we define what kind of object we want to create. Third one is metadata, where we define data that helps uniquely identify the object, which generally includes a name string or a unique ID or maybe an optional namespace. Last one which we require to define a Kubernetes object is the spec field, where we used to declare the desired state of the object, that is the characteristic of the resources. We have to provide this field when we are creating the object. Kubernetes objects are used for different purposes. Some of them are used to handle the problem of container orchestration like scheduling and self-healing. Others are there to solve inherent problems of containers. Here are some of the Kubernetes objects like pods, daemon sets, deployment, replica sets, services, and rest you can see on your screen. If you still have any doubts about anything in this video, or if you are facing any issue in between, then please don't think twice to ask me in the comment section. And also, if you have watched the video till here, then please let me know in the comments by typing "I have watched the full video and it was awesome." I am going to reply on every single comment, and for sure you will get a special like from me. I hope this video will help you in your interview, and if you get a sense or feeling of gaining any knowledge and skill through this video, then don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. This will highly support and motivate me to publish more content like this. That's all in this video. See you guys in the next one.